Welcome. This is Linda, and you're at Icky Chic Designs. And today's question is one that we all wrestle with. How do you know when a project is truly done? Because, in slow stitching, done isn't just about finishing, it's about feeling complete, don't you think? So pour yourself a warm drink. At least around my part of the country, it should be warm. Settle in with your current project, and let's explore this idea together. Now, while we do this, I'm going to be working on creating a fabric masterboard with fabric, okay? So let me get this pile of stuff pushed off here that I'm going to be working with and get a piece of batting down here because I quilt all these on the machine when I get them all laid out. And let me tell you what I'm starting here with. This is about a 13 by 9.5, which is a good size. When you start cutting it up for different things, you can get quite a bit out of it, okay? So I'm going to be just putting this together randomly as I talk about this question. As fiber artists, we're both the designer and the storyteller. So no one else can truly tell us when our story is done, can they? That's one of the most fearing and challenging parts of what we do, because we have to feel it. We truly have to feel it to be able to answer that question definitively. It's done. Because there's no checklist for done. There's no rule book that says stop at this point. Instead, it's about learning to listen to your intuition. When I'm working on a piece, I often notice a shift. My stitches start to slow down. My choices become smaller. Excuse me while I straighten this out just a little bit. Okay. And then at some point, I pick up my project and I look at it and I realize I don't have the urge to do anything else. That's my signal, the quiet knowing inside of me that I've done enough, okay? If you ever second guess yourself, wondering if you stopped too soon, that's okay, because I do that too. We all do. Sometimes done just means you've reached a resting place for the now, even if your story you're working on isn't finished. Okay, all right. Excuse me for the little pauses, but sometimes I have to think about what I'm doing here. Oh. So let's talk about something we all face too, outside opinions. When others see your work, especially in online spaces or shows and things like that, they may have their own sense of what finish looks like. To them, it might be about symmetry, balance, or polish. But to us, it's about texture, emotion, and authenticity. All right, okay. Some may look at our piece and think, oh, that needs a little more. But, they just don't, they can't see the rhythm of the process. The hundreds of tiny little decisions that we made along the way. The the inner voice in us that tells us when to quit. They can't see or discern any of that. So their ideal of finished might be tidy, ours might be raw. But both are valid, really. But only we know when the piece holds the right kind of energy for your story, and when it needs to progress, and when it needs to slow down, and when it needs to stop. I like to think about done in the sense of layers. There's visually done when the composition feels balanced. There's emotionally done when I've expressed what I need to say. And there's energetically done when the piece itself quits talking to me. Now, yes, I did say that. My pieces do talk to me. Your piece will too, if you learn to listen to it. Sometimes it screams at us and we don't hear it because we're not listening. So we have to learn to listen, okay? Remember, learn to listen. Let's see if this will tear it off. Well, a little bit of it does. Let's see here. I need a piece of this that is probably doubled. I'm talking to myself here as I go along. I need to double this because it is sheer and the batting shows through. So, but I think I want this color tucked under this color. Let me see if I can get it under there. I don't need a lot of it to show. I just want some of it because it definitely brings down the color from the top part to the bottom. And I like color to flow. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right. Let's see, what else have I got here? It's another very sheer piece. We could do that one. We might have to cut up some of that one. Whoops. Let's see. That one works pretty good. All right. I may not have enough fabric pulled out here. Let's try. That won't work there. Let's pull out another piece here. Cut it. Sometimes all three of those things that I mentioned, the visual done, the emotional done, and the energetic done, sometimes all three happen at once. And sometimes they happen one at a time. Again, we have to be tuned in. We have to be emotionally involved with our piece. That's when we really hear it the best, when it's really talking to us the most. The kind of like a magic kind of happens, you know, not magic like magic, but magic in a sense like it's almost a miracle the way the piece can talk to us, and it can be done for now, and it can tell us that, you know, it just feels kind of strange, but it happens. What another thing we have to remember about done is that slow stitching, while we're working on it, it's not permanent. It doesn't your slow stitch grow and evolve? I know mine does. And it's just, it just seems like it has a mind of its own. Another thing that we want to remember is that one of the most healing and beneficial parts of slow stitching is learning that done doesn't mean perfect. I know that's hard for a lot of us, but done doesn't mean perfect, okay? Done means we're ready to let it go. We're ready to say enough. Let's get this one under here. As you can see, I am desperately trying to make all that I pulled out work before I move to something else. And I think we're going to do that. But by forcing yourself to do that, by the way, if you pull out like I did, a section, a pile of stuff to work with, make it work. Force yourself to make it work. You come up with a lot of design choices that way that you wouldn't do otherwise. Just work with it and keep working with it and keep fiddling with it until it gets to the done part. And we haven't totally figured out where done is yet, have we? Not yet. But one of the things we're not aiming for when we're talking about done is perfection. Remember that. We're not aiming for perfection. Let's get some of these. Like this. Kind of lets certain things through and not other things. Okay. Let's see. I think that looks pretty good. I'm wondering how that would look in there. Let's do that one. Sometimes a project looks a bit uneven or the colors clash slightly, but it feels honest to you. It carries your fingerprint and your moment in time and the story you're working on. You know, every piece has a story. You didn't know that? Yes, it does. There's a reason why you chose that fabric. There's a reason why you chose today to create. There's a reason why the design is coming out the way it is. It's because there's a story inside of you, and sometimes you don't even realize it, but it's being told. It's being told through your fingers and your needle and your thread. Okay, I'm going to take some of that. There's something profoundly, to me, beautiful about taking a piece that you're working on and just letting it breathe for a little bit, and then going back and finding all kinds of life and energy still in it. It's still saying, work on me, work on me, work on me. Do you ever do that? You ever have a piece that just won't get finished in your mind and heart, and you just have to keep working on it? Well, that's okay. It's not finished. It's not done till it's done. Okay. There's also a part of done that's about letting go. Some of us have to learn that along the way too, that we have to learn to let go when the piece is done, when the energy runs out, when the desire to add more or change or tweak, when all of that kind of dies away. We don't want to start forcing it. We want to let it be done. So what is a stitcher's sense of completion, and how is it different? Hold on a minute here. I'm looking for, here it is. First of all, we have to realize that every stitcher's sense of completion is different. If we were working on the same pattern, doing the same thing, we would stop at different points. For some, done is when the last element that they have planned out is sewn on. For others, it's when the fabric or the piece screams at you, no more, no more. So instead of asking, is it done? We need to try to ask ourselves, what is this piece trying to tell me right now? You might find that done, it really isn't about symmetry, composition, all of that. It's about the relationship you have with the piece, how you feel about it. You know, something like what I'm working on. This is a master board. This is designed to cut up and do other things with. How do I know when it's done? Well, I keep working on it until it tells me it's done, until it feels done. Okay. There is no one or no guideline for something like this that I'm doing. And a lot of pieces that you're working on, there's no guideline to help you know. So it's all up to you what you consider done. So how do you know when a slow stitch project is truly done? It's that moment. Now listen. Listen carefully. It's a quiet, grounded, peaceful, not rushed, not second-guessed. It's that moment when your heart and mind says, I did it. The story, the piece I wanted to create is done. And that's the kind of done that no one can define for you, tell you when you're there. Only you as the artisan know when done is done. So what does done mean to you? Let me know in the comments how you feel about this subject. When is done for you? In a simple way, if you could answer that question for someone, what would you say? When is done for you? Ooh, some of these sequins don't want to let go of me. My piece is saying to me, Linda, I'm done. I like me like I am. Quit. Let me go. For me, this piece is done. What I will do now with it is I will put the netting on it so that I can quilt it. And I will do that on the machine. And I am starting to put these fabric masterboards. I'm going to be adding them to my Etsy shop. So I hope that if you've got some scraps and you like to be able to have a masterboard or cloth that you can cut things out of, you can cut appliques, all kinds of slow stitching additions to your slow stitching, florals, leaves, stars, hearts, anything you want out of that. You can make patches for your clothing, for your recycling, pockets. There's just no end. If you have the masterboards made up, then you can cut what you need out of them. All right, till next time, I hope this answered the question, how do we know when our piece is done? Till next time, stay safe and scrap happy.